Now, whoever aborts is a murderer according to Islam. If the mother has aborted the child, she is a murderer. On the day of judgment, as Quran says, وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. On that day, many daughters will be asked as to what was the sin for which they were buried alive. Among this, the ulama have included all those who are killed this way by abortion, the children, because in Islam, and this is an interesting way of thinking, there is something called bil fi'l and there is something bil quwwah, and it is easily translated in English, potential and actual. If I am employed and my employer has signed a contract with me for 12 months at least, then I may not be self-sufficient actually because I am paid every month. But potentially I am self-sufficient because there is a contract for 12. That means bil fi'l I may not be, but bil quwwah I am. Right? The moment conception takes place, the doctors and the philosophers, I've read their papers, they argue that you can't call it a person, therefore you can abort it. Our answer to them is that it is a person bil quwwah. It may not be a person bil fi'l. It may not be a person there and there as you call it actually, but it is growing up potentially to become a person. That which is bil quwwah a person, it may not be bil fi'l there and then, that must be honored and therefore you can't abort it. Now comes the question, when we were told about controlling the birth, we were all very much upset. And I'm still upset about it. Not because Shariah says it is halal, halal. But do you know why? Whenever they found that a particular nation was producing too many and too much, they tried to control it. In India, bas do hi teen bacche ghar mein hain lagte achhe. You go everywhere, you'll find on the board written, bas do hi teen bacche lagte hain ghar mein achhe. Now everybody does. That has an impact upon public, where a household which used to produce 10, they are told repeatedly at every gully, बस दो ही तीन बच्चे लगते हैं घर में अच्छे, हम दो हमारे दो. We are two, that means husband and wife, and we have how many children? Two. The result was that in Islamic countries, where they feared most that there might be a population blast, the population dwindled by percentage up to 30%, under the pretext that God does not provide for all those people. There is no enough food on earth. Astaghfirullah al-azim. William James, the psychologist, and the greatest psychology America has produced in this century, in his book, The Varieties of Religious Experience, writes that what a spiritless community of human beings are we, who are so fearful of poverty that we refuse to produce and reproduce till we have a bank balance. Well, he has said in this 20th century after realization, Allah said, لا تقتلوا أولادكم خشية إملاق نحن نرزقهم وإياكم. Do not kill children for the sake of fear of poverty or whatever, for we gave you rizq and we shall give rizq to him. A family produced 13 sons. One day when we went to compliment the father, the nurse at the hospital said, May I give you fresh, hot news? What? That the woman has produced 13th son. It was fresh, hot news. 13th son. And we, the pseudo-philosophers, when we were young, we thought we were the greatest philosophers of our age. When we sat, you see, among our own French circle, we said, Akkal se, dar varse ek calendar, dar varse ek calendar. This man has no sense. And look at his play, look at his position. There's no finance and dar varse ek calendar. Every year there's a new calendar. That means there's a new child. You see? We said that, Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. All the mu'mineen, I keep you witness that I say Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh for having said those things, because that meant that we were wiser than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because today, bihamdillah ta'ala, every son in that family is a millionaire. Huh? And now when we, the so-called philosophers, sit, manpower, now that which was foolishness became manpower. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees for him a passage of few years of suffering is nothing, for the result is good. And during the suffering, the family is molded, and they became well-behaved people. Poverty molds. Poverty makes you greater. Sufferings make you refined. This is how the world is. So at that time, suddenly the world has become worried about producing. Look at the whole thing. Now they want to produce at all costs, even outside the womb. Now they come and say, Mullah Sahab, what about infertility? I said, what about infertility? The Prophet had forecast there will come an age of infertility. Yes. If you look at the hadith that we have from the Prophet about Akhir Zaman, he has said there will come an age of infertility. Now medical profession and doctors and mashallah, highly intellectual people, youngsters are sitting here, they know there can be many reasons. One of them is this radiation which is going on in the atmosphere, by the nuclear blasts and all that which is happening. The Russian government did the blast and kept a secret for 28 years. It has come out now. America hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It has come to be known for years. But Russia did it, nobody knew. It has come to light now, 2 years ago. France did it successively. This is traveling in the air, and this is traveling in the atmosphere, and it is actually disturbing the whole pattern. The Prophet said the time will come when there will be infertility. So we knew about it. You see? And the time is come. Have su karu. So now the doctors have found out that you can develop a child outside the womb, or at least fertilized outside the womb. Take a sperm from the husband, eggs from the wife, get it fertilized, and then replant it into the wife, allowing it to develop into a child, and then she delivers. Well, Shariah says this is jaiz. It is A-I-H. Not A-I-D, huh? A-I-H is by the husband. A-I-D is by the donor. That D is a very khatarnak D. Huh? It has got to be insemination by the husband. And eggs must be that of the wife. It is done outside and then replanted or implanted into the mother or wife. And from there, the child is, mashallah. Now, in that process, what they have come up with is that they have to fertilize several eggs, and several eggs of them are fertilized altogether. You must have heard from just recent radio program that they kept for 5 years or 3 years or some eggs, fertilized eggs, and then they destroyed it. Either destruction of that is allowed or not. That is the question. Invariably when I say this, because I'm not a doctor, but I have very good contact with my doctors. They have told me that Mullah Sahib, in such situations there will always, if not always, but in majority cases there will be twins, or Allah replies, "Ek jo tano to thot kharo ke tran aapun bega." You didn't want one, now you play with my pattern, I give you 3 together. 2 together. Fine. Now what happens? Not invariably, but in most cases it is always twins or 3, or sometimes one more. Now, what has happened is, what about the others which are there? They are kept and then they will be destroyed ultimately. What is the... Ayatollah Sistani gave a very good reply. He said, this happens in nature. In nature this happens. When fertilization takes place naturally in the womb of the mother, many eggs are fertilized. In the next period, whatever happens, it is shed in the blood and it comes out. So when nature does it, it can be done. You understand? That is finished. But you can't have a donor, because donor is, to have a donor means to have an illicit relation. A child born is illegitimate, because he is not the husband or not the father. Having said this, now there comes a new problem. There are a compounded problem. The wife wants a child. He wants a fertilization to take place, but doesn't want to carry. So now we have got to find some hired mothers, who we call surrogate mothers. This surrogate motherhood is haram, totally, because it was conducive to problems, and it was already there in the paper. A daughter's fertilized egg was carried by her own mother. In Kiswahili says mambo. Now this is the new problem. Because the daughter's fertilized egg is now carried by her mother. Now when she delivered, now what is that child? Is that boy his mother's brother? Or his mother's son? And what will happen for heritage when we want to do inheritance? He will inherit as the brother, as a second category, or he will inherit as son in the first category. You understand? So many ethical problems and medical problems brought in. That's why it is haram. I have said this. There are many other masail. I can go on, Ya Allah. I can go on and on, because I have received the books from Ayatullah al-Uzama Sayyid Sadiq Rouhani, Ayatullah al-Uzama Sayyid Ali Sistani, Ayatullah Sayyid Muhammad Sin Fadlullah, Ayatullah Sheikh Nasir Makarim. All these great ulama have already started thinking. And the new books that are coming, they are writing, and they are also sometimes not only writing, but hypothetical cases they bring in, which even medical world so far has not entered into it. If it happens this way, and if it happens that way. It is a very long story. But I have briefly told you that the life that Allah has given to us belongs to Him. The time will come when you will be able to buy the type of child you want from Sainsbury. And there will be ingredients written on there. Blue eye, flat nose, Roman nose. And you are laughing, but this is going to be a reality within the next 15 years. I read about this 40 years ago when I was only 15, 20. In a book Aldous Huxley wrote, The New Brave World. And I thought it was never happened, he was just imagining. It's happening. And there will be a time when human children will be created and will be produced en mass production. On one design, one pattern, just press the button, all of one type. All of one type, Hitler's army. And their mother will go to Sainsbury or to Texaco or wherever and look at the type she wants, go to the doctor, get herself inseminated and have the child. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. When man disturbs nature, this is the result. That what you have to inherit from your father and mother will be sidelined, and you will inherit from those packages. There was a time when we used to slaughter a chicken and eat. Now we have ready chicken soup, haram or halal. That will happen. So the medical ethics have produced so many questions. And may Allah grant us tawfiq to remain in the modern age with our own values and answering them in the way they think, the same intellectual debate and discussion, for they themselves have realized the dangers they are facing. This medical ethics is not the only question of the Islamic Church, the Christian Church and Judaic Church are discussing this every day as to what next and how to advise. The difference is that we have no say there. They have a say. They can reach up to House of Lords and pass whatever they wish to. The day might come when we may have a say. At the moment, at least, we can at least guide our own. Salawatu Wafat Janab Khadija al-Kubra, Salamullahi alayha. Few minutes. In Urdu I have been told to say, so I'll say, bear with me. Even those who don't understand will understand. I'll be very simple. Janab Khadija al-Kubra, Janab Fatima Zahra ki maa. Ziyarat waris mein Imam Jafar Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. इमाम हुसैन अलैहिस्सलाम को निस्बत देते हैं तमाम अंबिया की तरफ जो मासूम। अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिस आदम, आदम मासूम। अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिस नूह नबी, नूह। अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिस इब्राहीम खलीलुल्लाह, इब्राहीम मासूम। मूसा कलीमुल्लाह, मूसा अलैहिस्सलाम मासूम। ईसा रूहुल्लाह, ईसा मासूम। अस्सलामु अलैका या वारिस मुहम्मदिन सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, मासूम। इसके बाद इमाम बदलते हैं जरा, अब इब्नियत पे आते हैं। अस्सलामु अलैका या इब्न मुहम्मदिल मुस्तफा, मासूम है। आप पर सलाम हो ऐ मोहम्मद मुस्तफा के बेटे। अस्सलामु अलैका या इब्न अलीनिल मुर्तवा, मासूम की तरफ है। बेटे किसके? इमाम अली के। अस्सलामु अलैका या इब्न फातिमा ज़हरा, आए फातिमा ज़हरा के बेटे, ये भी मासूम है। एकदम से पलट के गैर मासूम का नाम लिया। वस्सलामु अलैका या इब्न खदीजा अल-कुबरा, सलाम हो आप पर ऐ बाअज़मत और बुजुर्ग खदीजा के बेटे। यानी वो मकाम है खदीजा का कि जहां पर मासूम की सफ में उनका नाम लिया जाए। वरना क्यों नाम लेते? फातिमा का नाम आ गया, आ गया। क्यों? जब पैगंबर अकरम غار ہرا سے وحی کے بعد گھر آئے ہیں. پوری دنیا خلاف ہے, کوئی ماننے والا نہیں کہ رسول کے اوپر وحی آئی ہے. اللہ جانتا ہے, جبریل امین جانتے ہیں, خود پیغمبر جانتے ہیں, اور گھر پہ آ رہے ہیں اور پریشانی ہے. حکم ہے اقرا بسم ربک الذی خلق. جی گھر پہ آئے جناب خدیجہ الکبریٰ سے کہا کہ اے خدیجہ میں غار ہرا میں تھا. اچھا جناب خدیجہ کو معلوم نہیں تھا کہ غار ہرا میں تھے.